Wigan, Worthing, Bournemouth and Hastings. In this afternoon's British thriller, a gang stages a mail van robbery, but none of them has been a criminal before, and this exciting film shows why they break the law. The film is The Good Die Young, and it has a strong cast list with Margaret Leighton, Lawrence Harvey, Richard Basehart and Stanley Baker. That's at 2:25.
You live in. It was nice to come to you and see your little cottage first.
It is a nice-sized town, isn't it?
She's right in the heart of the forest. Well,
on the
almost.
Edge. On the
where,
edge.
where is that?
Ringwood.
Yes.
I don't know it. I know it's a lovely place. Supposed to be a lovely place.
It's a market town. You know, it's not too big, not too small. We've got everything there that we need. You know, but it's not too big to lose contact with.
And then we went on over to the riding centre, which is not very far. I mean, if we'd had bicycles, I'm sure we could have cycled over, Karen.
You ride?
Well, occasionally.
Yes, it's the type of place that you can ride. And it's very close to the riding centre for the handicapped children. It started off, didn't it?
I've got a friend who works there as a voluntary helper, and she'd been talking to me about it, and I was rather interested in seeing how things
Well,
work.
you mean a riding centre to teach handicapped children to ride?
Yes, exactly.
How interesting.
Yes.
Do you know that?
Yes, I have heard of it. It's a centre it spends the whole of its time just doing that, does it? Because I know a few riding schools give over their riding school and their ponies to an association, and they all come in and do it. But I've never heard of one that's sort of a set.
Well, this is residential and visiting.
Oh, I see. So what, do they have normal schooling as well? Or?
Yes, there are 20 residential students. They call them students, not patients, which I think is nice. And they learn their 3 Rs as well as the therapy with riding. And then they have 140 a week. That's children and young adults.
And are they children
who come and visit from local hospitals and schools and things like that?
Are they children who love horses? That's the idea.
That's the beauty of it.
They
felt, Karen.
Yes, not necessarily.
Some of the children, Yvonne said, had never been in contact with a horse. No. This is what amazed me.
God, I'd be terrified. I'm terrified.
And they gradually bring them in and get them used to the horses. I mean, they don't immediately bring somebody in and sit them on a horse. I mean, they take them into the stables and they get them to know the horses. They clean out and they do everything with them.
How do they actually teach them to ride? Because obviously there's a problem, isn't there, if somebody
physically
is
handicapped,
physically handicapped.
Well, they
start off on leading rein or...
Yes, in fact, there were 3 children having lessons when we were there on leading reins, just starting.
Closely supervised, or because I would imagine that could
the little ones, or the very badly physically handicapped children, are actually held on, and you'll find it's ever so nice because you have the instructress or instructor, and then you might have one physically handicapped child holding the rein whilst another one is sitting on the back. You know, some of these horses are massive.
I was going to say they
obviously
hand-picked other horses because you've got children who are handicapped or perhaps in wheelchairs around them. They have to be fairly reliable.
They must be. Yes.
They're their own horses, are they? Or
some of them are loaned, aren't they? And some of them are
because I'm so scared of horses, I find it very hard to realise just how the therapy works.
I feel there's such a personal thing there, Cherry, and I think, the children get attached to a particular horse or a particular teacher. It's so small that I find this attachment helps a lot.
But it's a one-to-one ratio, teacher-student, which is fantastic.
To answer what you were saying, I don't actually know, but I would imagine there are lots of ways it helps the children, in as much as it probably increases the awareness of the mobility that they do have, and they reach right out and take as much of it as they can. And then, of course, it's a great morale booster, and it's a community thing, isn't it? If they're helping each other, I would imagine it's
and even more mentally, Karen. I mean, Yvonne said that they'd had an anorexic girl there, and she gradually found that she was getting better, but on occasion she'd go to binge again.
Yes.
And she punished herself by saying to Yvonne, I'm going to miss my treat with the horses today. She said, I've been naughty and I'm going to punish myself. I'm not going to have my treat, which I found was very good.
But you know what I liked was the motto, hold fast to reality, which I thought was very nice. And I feel that sums it all up, because they're teaching the children to accept their handicap.
And do the children help in any way? Do they do all the other things?
Oh, everything.
Tack room and everything.
I think this is the nice thing. Hear her shouting at me.
No, but it really was very educational.
You're getting annoyed with me. I wanted to come after the onions.
Yes, I've
finished
the onions. I think you're hanging on to that and everything.
Is there a tip that we could have when we're cutting onions so that I don't stream tears all over the place?
Funny enough, Lucy came home with a tip from school, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. Do it underwater or something, was it?
I don't know. I've tried everything.
I need a tip for slicing things out. I think a smaller knife would be in...
No, but Mary seems to bang the knife up and down. I've tried so hard, but that's jolly thin. I'm surprised to see... Now, doesn't it matter that you're taking a pith in?
I don't think so. No, I
that's easy, isn't it?
I think the pith's quite good for you.
Good.
Now, Harry might like this one. It's not so... I know he's crazy about mango chutney, isn't he?
You've got to find a recipe for mango chutney because I'm going through jars of it. But
and the price.
I know.
This is rhubarb and orange. So you take one orange and slice up, peel it and slice up the peel, and then cut the orange in half and
quite
squeeze
a small
it.
Orange too.
Well, I was just tight. I bought the ones that were 5 for 20p or something.
Good. And they're lovely and juicy.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. I figure the smaller the better because the children only eat one anyway. So the smaller
nice
the better.
Juicy.
And my garden's full of rhubarb. You know that rhubarb you gave me a couple of years ago?
Yes.
It's lovely. It's spread like mad.
I should want it back again.
You can have some of it. That's what made me make the rhubarb and orange chutney because I've got so much rhubarb.
Good.
I started it off in a barrel, to protect it from the winds where I live. And it's done beautifully. And then add the juice. Nice sizzle, isn't it?
This probably gives a nice tart taste to it, does it? The orange, does it come through?
It is quite a sharp one. We eat an awful lot. That's 1.5 pounds of rhubarb. And I didn't skin it, I just washed it and cut it up. And it's nice with curry. We eat a lot of curry. And it's really nice with that. And the chutneys cost the earth, I've found these days. That's a large onion and a moderate-sized onion, right? 1.5 pounds of rhubarb, 1 orange, and 2 onions, right?
You've chopped that quite small, all a bit chopped.
Well, I've been practising,
Yes. Chop it all quite small.
These are the black raisins. I don't know if you've had them before. Sultanas. Aren't they lovely?
I
got them
I didn't know you get black sultanas.
Yes, well, you can, obviously. Unless they're on the wrong shelf or something.
No, they look nice
But
ones.
they are lovely, yes.
How many
that
sultanas?
Was, 8 ounces of sultanas. So there's my bit of tape. And 1 pound of dark brown sugar. This makes 4 good pots full. You know,
it's nice to do it in large amounts because I do dislike the smell of the chutneys cooking.
I
Does
thought
it
it was quite
affect you?
a small amount. Yeah. I usually
4
do 8
jars.
pounds. 3/4 of a pint of malt vinegar. Gives a nice flavour to it.
Have I got to use malt vinegar? Is it
Well, I
best?
suppose you haven't, but it does give a nice sort
Gives
of
a nicer
flavour to
flavour.
it. Right, it's all going down, isn't it? And then into this, which I'm not very good at, you have to put
What do you mean you're not very good at?
well, I'm very messy. A spoonful of
believe
mustard
it.
seed. And a spoonful of the whole allspice, teaspoon that is, of course.
Yes.
And a spoonful of peppercorns.
Do you know, Justin had hunted high and low for green peppercorns. I'd never heard of them. He
No?
eventually got them, but I don't know the difference between those and the black ones.
Hold this a minute there.
What,
can
to
you?
tie it?
Yeah. Put it in a bit of muslin and tie it with a bit of tape.
And then I suppose to just hang it, pop this in and then slowly cook it all, do you?
You bring it to the boil and you reduce it down without the lid on for 1.5 hours till it's pulpy. Right, that should be
Without
okay.
the lid on?
Without the lid on, till it's nice and thick and pulpy. And don't do it in a cast iron pan. You know that, I suppose, do you?
Well, I mean, it's always worth sort of... I've only got stainless steel, but...
Yes. And when you go to put it in the jars, do warm your jars as well. Because it's nice, you know, warm the jars, sterilise the jars and keep them warm.
Yes.
And pour it straight in.
Because it does make a difference to have them warm, I mean...
Well, they burst.
Yes.
The glass would break.
Yeah.
Yes, like that. And
So how long did you say simmer that for?
1.5 hours. About 1.5 hours.
About 1.5 hours.
And this is the one that I've done.
Just until it's really soft and... It's a nice dark colour.
Isn't it? Yes. It's nice with cheese. And, you know, it's very orangey flavoured. But it didn't cost anything with having the rhubarb in the garden. Have a taste here. Oh, I just need a nice big piece of cheese.
Oh, isn't the orange a
Isn't it? It's amazing.
Lovely.
How strong
Quite
it is.
often with chutneys, you get just a a taste, don't you, of everything we're saying?
Yeah.
But that lovely orange flavour that you get through.
Yes, I was very pleased
that's a
with
good
it.
one.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Have you been making?
I think have made are more popular than anything this year. You know, even for the evening, flat gold flat gold thing, little shoes like this, you know.
Makes sense, really, because if you're dancing all evening, one's like, well, me anyway, but mine do, they ache like nothing on God's earth.
All you young girls who like to go in flatties. Do you take yours off?
I used to take mine off when I was dancing.
Yes, but I find that going from high heels into flat shoes absolutely kills the back.
It's the other way round with me.
Yes?
Well, because I usually walk about in flat shoes.
Of course you do.
Tackies, usually.
Yes. I like these, though, because they're a sandal, but they're still a shoe at the same time. Plenty of support.
Yes. And, of course, that's very nice, soft-looking hide, isn't
And
it?
very fashionable this year, this sort of built up, this long front and so on. Comfortable.
Those heels are quite
And then, yes, they're nice. And the toning handbag. Love these colours, love these country colours.
Yes.
Because you can wear them with anything, can't you?
Yes, they're really easy.
Yeah, nice shoe. Like
But that's been around for some time now, hasn't it? It's
a variation
still
of
popular.
this,
Yeah.
yes, a variation
Still
of this.
popular.
But they're opening it up more and more, you know,
Yes.
opening the back and then
Yeah.
a bit more of the toes.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like these ones.
I love those on you.
They're super colour, aren't they?
Yes,
It gives
those-
very
yes,
fashionable
with a
colours.
lizard. And I think that this line here that's a new
Yes, there's
variation.
practically no heel. Your heel is just
Yes,
sitting at the back.
yes.
And a nice bag to go with it.
Oh, yes, that's... Now, you see, that's the time when you would really have to have a bag.
Yes, because what would you wear with lilac
Yeah.
shoes?
You see, that's...
Yes. But you see, it's not a violent colour, so that you're not
No,
terribly
no.
aware. It's bright
And it's
red
comfortable.
and like that I don't like.
Yes, but I think the whole thing with that is that your foot is not slipping forward either.
No, they've got a new balance, haven't
Yes.
they, to high
Yeah,
heels?
very much
You know
so.
the shoes I bought down before, I was saying that you can go into high heels now and they feel quite flat.
Yeah.
I've never worn a very high shoe like that, certainly never a stiletto heel.
This is
Never seen you in anything like that,
well, you
Deborah.
have nice.
That's very flattering.
It is.
Lovely colour.
Yes.
Feels, and it, again, I know it's not
Deborah, you should
stiletto,
wear
but it
more
feels
shoes like that.
very comfortable.
Does it? Do you know
I
what
feel
I've
as though
been-
I could walk.
Yes.
You've got a bag,
I've
haven't you,
got a
Cherry?
bag here. That doesn't sound like you. They have to get
Very
you into
Frilly dresses.
into
next.
frilly dresses.
Yes.
You probably never will. Do you like those?
I think they're super. Normally, I find it terribly hard to find a shoe
Yeah.
that fits me.
Why?
It's because, well, I've got a very broad foot, as well as being, well, I think they're big, long-wise, you know, but they're also very wide. And these are so comfortable, and this gives beautifully.
Have you
here.
got a thing about the size of your feet?
Yes, I
Can
do
I tell you
tend
the
to.
average model girl takes about size 7, if that encourages you.
Oh,
Because
that's
when I brought
reassured
these
me.
down, I
Yes.
thought this was quite a small
Yes,
size.
yes. Goodness me. No, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought the average size was about a 5.
No.
Because I'm always
with models, yes.
very conscious of wearing anything pointed, because I always feel that adds to the length of the,
Oh,
of
I
the
didn't.
foot.
I didn't, because I don't think it makes sense.
You know those you've put
These
on.
ones.
You know those
look
are
at
the
that.
Lady Diana shoes. Those are the kind
Oh,
of
are
shoes.
they?
Yes, and when I borrowed those, they said this is the kind of shoe that Lady Diana
But
wears.
this is charming, I think, because it's elegant enough for the evening,
Yes.
but you could
yes.
walk about town in
Yes.
that
Sort
with
of
that
thing,
heel.
yes, you get a lot of use out of that.
I think
Yes.
then the bag
Yeah.
will be a bit too big for it.
Oh, yes.
For the evening.
For the
But
evening.
lovely
Oh,
for
yes,
the-
but nice for the day.
You see how low the heel is?
Yes.
Well, it's
but it's
medium,
comfortable.
Yes.
Is that
Very
big enough for
comfortable.
disposable nappies and feeder beads?
Very, very.
These are nice too, Cherry.
You
Leather
like
bags.
those?
Yes, well, I could wear those with skirts or trousers, and I
Yes,
could
you
really
could.
put those on my feet and forget I've got anything on them.
And-
Which really, you know, for my sort of work is absolutely ideal, because I can't be worrying about whether or not I'm going to fall off my heels, which is what I
No.
do.
Yes.
tend
You
to do.
see, the elastic is so nice for the summer, isn't it? If your feet swell and you've got that elastic
Well,
at
mine
the
do.
back.
Some people, I don't know, have friends whose feet don't, but mine do.
No, so do mine. Mine swell, smell, I said. Probably do.
These are smart, aren't they?
Oh, I didn't think you'd put those on.
Oh, just out of fun.
Stand up in them.
Oh,
No, you see,
I'll fall over.
but your feet don't look wide in those.
Oh.
No, they look very dainty.
Yes,
I like them
yes.
very much.
But tell me, Carol, can you feel that? How does the balance feel? Because I think that these they're as comfortable as low heels.
Yes, I must admit, they
Yeah?
feel nice to stand in. Whether I
Yes.
could walk in them, I don't know. But I'm really not used to being that high up on
There
them.
are times when you've got to have high heels.
Mind you,
though.
everybody says
There are
they're bad for
clothes
you.
you have to wear.
Yes.
high heels
Of
with,
course,
aren't
yes.
there?
Yes.
In fact,
Look,
I even do possess
These
them.
I love those.
are mine. Now, they're just, you see, I go about in what I call tackies, plimsolls.
Yes.
But of course these are leather.
Yeah.
And my goodness, and a little heel.
Yeah.
Now those I shall have for the summer. I wouldn't mind having those.
And you'll have those for the summer.
Well, no,
You've got to go back.
No, this sort of...
that sort of
I would like to have this in this colour even for summer dresses.
Lovely.
No, I think they're super. I like those.
And you can march, you see, and you can walk dogs, you can march about in these.
You know what's marvellous? The school children like them, so you don't have the problem of them wanting to go into very high heels. I love those. Those I think are very pretty.
They're very reminiscent of the bar shoes, and I think that's probably why I would think twice before I wore them.
What bar shoes? Oh, when you were a little girl?
Yes.
Did you wear those?
No, I wore lace-ups, but everybody else wore bar shoes.
That's what I like. But I tell you, in black, those would be elegant with Anne's knickerbockers.
You are.
Yes.
Cherry?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they?
Oh, yes, lovely. I had
For
shoes
evening.
like that years ago. That kind of shoe has always come back
Yes,
in fashion.
I like those. I would like those as well.
What have you got there? Oh, this. I love that quilted court shoe.
You see, that's what
Very
I mean about.
sensible.
Like, I felt that a pointed shoe would make my foot look
No,
longer. You don't
no.
think so?
Well, it elongates it. It makes it look more elegant. And you see how it's cut up at the sides.
Yes.
That shoe. Well, that narrows the look of your foot.
Yes.
So it gives it a nice thing.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Those I think were for my mother. Shoes like that. No, I mean it. A nice open shoe. You weren't thinking of having
Pretty,
those.
aren't they?
No,
Why
but
haven't
I
you
do
got
like
any
an
for
open
me?
toe, in fact, because it is very comfortable to wear in
Yes.
the heat, I think. But it's not this particular one. No, I agree with you.
Do you not like that one?
Not on me, not for
You
me. I
like
like
that?
it, but but not for me.
Do you like that one, Lucy? That's another...
That's a Lady Diana.
Yes,
one,
it is, isn't
too.
it?
Yes,
Yes, they look like air hostess shoes to me.
They're in very good.
Yes, they do actually.
Yes. I haven't got any stockings on, so I can't
I
find
haven't
any.
got any size 3s. You've got such a tiny... I was saying the average model girl takes a size 7 shoe, so lucky to have all these.
Yeah. Well, take them off then if I can't have any and have a cup of tea.
About time too.
Like a cup of tea. I should be pleased to have some decent shoes, though, I think.
Yes, nice to have shoes for the summer. New shoes for the summer.
No, but it was really quite difficult. As I was saying, Violet, I spoke to Daphne about it. A girlfriend of mine came to see me. I hadn't seen her for ages, and she's really is desperately unhappy. And, you know, with her marriage and her home and everything, but can't bear to just go, which I thought was the answer, and so did Daphne. But she can't bear to leave her things behind.
Her things or her husband?
Oh, well, I think it's got to the pitch that she's quite
It's just
happy
her
to leave her
things.
husband, but her home, I
her
suppose,
house,
yes.
Well, but she hasn't any children.
No, she
has
hasn't any children, no, but sometimes if you haven't children, I think maybe things perhaps replace them, you know.
Well, no, I think also it's what you've worked for. If you've worked very hard at a marriage, I mean, in this case,
Yes.
and you have helped build up the home
Well, yes.
and everything else with it, it's very hard to leave it all behind.
And where do you go?
Exactly, yes.
For most women, there's nowhere to go. Usually the husband, well, very often the man leaves the house, doesn't he? I don't
Yes.
see why he should.
This is
Must
why I
be
feel
often
it's
that.
much easier if you haven't a family of children.
Because it's a nightmare,
Oh, it
actually.
is a nightmare,
you know,
yes.
for anyone who's been through a divorce or anything like that, it is a nightmare. But I'm inclined to agree with Daphne that if there comes a point of no return, you've got to seriously consider, but not in a hurry. I mean, it doesn't break down.
I'll tell you what I found,
know,
when I
overnight.
left, the 3 little ones were all, well, 3, 2 and 1, well,
When
Lucy
you
was 6
left
weeks.
when?
When I first left home, and Alan was about 6, and after I left a house, well, not a very grand house, and went to 2 rooms in Shepherd's Bush, up 5 flights of stairs with 4 children, and the times I nearly went back.
How young were you then? I mean, how old were you then?
Oh, about 22, yes. It was really sort of awful. I thought, I can't possibly go back. But then when they were crying for a garden and sort of missing their toys, because I just went, leaving everything behind, and it was so hard.
But you
So
must have
often.
been desperate to do that,
Well, I was
Lucy.
very unhappy,
You
yes.
but
yes.
either you were very, very brave or very courageous, or you were desperate.
I think
Yes.
also
Really.
it's very difficult. You see, Lucy obviously had to leave. She had almost no choice. I mean, you
No,
wouldn't
I
happily,
couldn't escape.
easily leave a place with 4 children and not really know what to do. You've got to be pretty desperate.
I got to the point where I thought, if I stay, I'll die. I'll be
Yes,
like my
yes.
mother, and I'll be dead by the time I'm 29.
Yeah,
But
you're
you've got to
leaving
be
the
very
house and the
brave.
home, and it's a dozen things that's happening at once, isn't it? You're leaving your husband,
Yes.
you're leaving your
Yes.
home, you're leaving your lifestyle, you're leaving probably, you know,
Yes.
your own environment.
That's right. I had to put the children in a nursery, which was the first time I'd done
There must
anything
be
like
such a
that. and-
wrench.
But you've got to be so brave because I can only, I mean, I've often thought, you know, if I had somewhere to go, probably at bad times, I'd like to go. But even when I was when I started to nurse, I mean, I was in service, the fact that I had to go into an entirely different environment, it was terrible to leave service and go into nursing.
It's not always like that, though. It's not always like that. You can be very excited. You probably, by a change.
You get both. You get the initial excitement, but there's always that certain misgiving underneath.
The aftertaste isn't very nice.
No,
when the first 3 or 4 weeks have passed, you know, and things aren't working out
and
as
you suddenly find yourself alone within four walls.
It's very difficult, especially as I left England and went to live abroad, and I really didn't know anybody or anything, couldn't speak the language very well.
I think the worst thing is the guilt, Karen. Certainly in my case, you wonder, you know that you had to go, but there are 4 other people to consider, and you feel absolutely question your whole motives.
I always used to say, if you don't like your life, change it.
Yes, I still say that.
I used to live by that.
Yeah. I used to say that, certainly when my marriage came to an end, I used to say almost every day, I don't know how to live my life. It's simply got to be changed. I don't know what to do, you know.
And you've got to, I think, once you've made the break, if it's been very, very bad, the situation, you've got something, even if you have nothing else, you have peace of mind and life.
But do you know, Chris was saying, Daphne, even at university, that he hadn't met anybody that hadn't had some kind of problem about leaving home. They felt homesick and a little low, although they're surrounded by people and fairly sheltered.
That's because they're young, and then obviously it's the first time.
But Daphne, I still think nobody should break up a marriage or leave home, you know, despite my own... What I did, and you know, without a great deal of thought, you know, try and make it work or think. It's usually, I know so many separated and divorced women who say now, well, it would have been better to have stayed because I'm lonely. It would have been better.
And of course, it's not easy for the one left behind, is it? I mean, when somebody goes, the one left behind.
But you can always look back. You see, this is the trouble with looking back. You must never look back. You must always either just
once you've made up, you've made the decision. Yes, go ahead with it.
Because you can only remember the good times.
Yes,
yes. You can't make a decision. You can't make a decision about your whole life.
No,
limits. It's got to be very tremendously important.